Page 34, Humoresque. You can read up at the top about what a humoresque is and what ostinato is and all that wonderful stuff. You can also Google them and find out. As far as this piece goes, it's in cut time. 2 sharps. It's in the key of D major. Make sure you can do the D major scale. If you don't know the scale, then learn it 1 octave up and down, both hands. If you do know the scale, then do the 2 octaves up and down. Use my scale video on D major. You probably ought to go ahead and do the B minor scale also, because it is the minor scale, the relative minor. It has 2 sharps also. For this, right hand first, let's just play everything connected at start. Let's make sure we got the fingerings and the rhythms and the notes. Here to start, 1 and 2. I'm going to take this in 4/4 time while I learn it, and I'll put it in cut time later. So to me, right now, a quarter note gets a count. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 3 and 4 and. Third, next line is a. So I'm using the same finger for the black key as I would use on the white key for now. Doesn't work all the time, but that's my first choice, and if that doesn't work, then I try another fingering. Now on the whole note, if you got really big thick fingers and all that didn't work, then you need to go here, and in order to get that, you need to go on the 8th notes, 1, 3, 4. So you can do that. You have to adjust the fingering slightly, but if your hand's small enough, use the fingering in the book. Here, and then the next line, it's an F natural. 3, 4. We went into D minor. And then the F natural. You still have the C sharp though. The next line, they're A's. That's 2 ledger lines below the staff. On a treble clef, it's an A. Just memorize that note. And then a B flat, B natural, C. Then a chromatic passage. Start with 2nd finger is fine. We have a trill, sort of. And I'm just rocking the hand here back and forth because I let weight play the notes. I'm just lowering which finger I want to play. So here I'm just rocking it. The motion is actually very little, but I exaggerate it so you can see it better. You lift up and move. And that takes us back to top of page here. For the coda, the last line there on page 35, you're here. Then you have a 1 measure rest. And then you take you got a bass clef there in the top staff. You're going to come over here. It's the chromatic passage going down. Here. Won't that be fun? Left hand. This is the ostinato part. Some people will use 2nd finger. I recommend 3rd finger if you can. We need to get the hands spread out a little bit, get in the habit of doing that, so don't always try and keep the hands close together, the fingers I should say, but 3rd finger if you can. That's pretty much what you're doing until you get to the 3rd line down last measure. You change it to an E. For 1 measure and you go back to that. Oh, isn't this fun? For the most part, that's the left hand, except maybe the last measure on page 35 there at the bottom. That D has an 8V8 under it, so you go down an octave if you have the note. If you have a short keyboard, play the lowest D you have. Put the hands together, still connecting. This is just introduction, and then here. Page 35, 2nd line, it's just quarter notes. You got to get the left hand out of the way on the first one because the right hand needs the same note. It's right there. For the coda, here. as you're playing this, get the right hand down there. Don't lean on this. You turn your torso and you reach here. So you want to stay fairly balanced, upright and balanced, even when you're down here. Then we can add the staccatos. Nice light wrist staccato here. Boom, 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 boom. Don't come way up. Just. Then third line down, you have an accent and a sforzando. I don't agree with that. Pick one. Well, the sforzando is stronger than the accent, so make it this. Just play it. So, and that's the right hand, not the left. Then you do that some more and you got up, okay? Page 35, second line, slurs. Down, up, down, up. You don't have to play the second note of the slur real short. If they really wanted that, they'd put in a staccato, but just lift up. You have an accent at the beginning of each of these slurs, so boom, boom, boom. Accent on it, it reinforces the natural accent, which you do anyway. There's no accent here. Accent there, and then lift up. For the coda, it's here, sforzando. You don't need an accent, just sforzando. And then here, it's all connected. Staccato and staccato. They put in an accent on the last note, that's fine. That makes that note very loud. Because now we do the dynamics. We'll start out soft. For the left hand, keep it soft. So here. The right hand's a little louder than that. It's moderately soft. Keep the left hand soft. Now sforzando. We're in the soft range. So your sforzando has to be in relation to where you're at. So you're not going to give it a blah in the middle of playing soft. Bring it up to about the loud, make it loud, and then come back down to moderately soft. Because if you only went up a little bit, well, that would just be an accent. Well, we want the sforzando, and that takes it up more. So it's make that one note loud in the right hand. Keep the left hand very soft or whatever you're doing. Now come down to soft. Left hand has to be very soft. And this sforzando, at the top of page 35, is in relation to soft, which means you're only going to go up to about a moderately loud here in the right hand. Keep the left hand very soft. Then in the next line, it's moderately soft in both hands, but the accent takes it up a little bit to about moderately loud for that one note. You have a crescendo, you're going to go up to moderately loud, so don't get too soon. Take your time on the crescendo. A little bit. Now you're moderately loud, but they give you an accent on that. So that's going to take that one note up to loud, and then you're crescendoing up to loud, and the accent makes that very loud, and then loud, and then they don't give you a decrescendo or anything. It may be an error. I would put a decrescendo on those, because you're going to be moderately loud, moderately soft here when you go back. So otherwise you're going to stay loud. I don't really think that's what they wanted. I think you need a decrescendo on those eighth notes at the end of the third line on page 35. When you get to the coda, you came from the sign, which is the last line on page 34. You see that sign? You're soft here. So the coda is on the soft side to start with. The sforzando will take it up to about the loud for that one note. And then the crescendo, you're going to go from soft to loud on here. You're going to crescendo as you go down, and then the last note will be very loud because it has an accent. So the roadmap is, you play it all the way through until the third line on page 35, the DS sign al coda thing. We've had this before. The DS means go back to that sign. That sign is at the top of page 34, and the last measure there, you're going to go back to there. And you play that page again. Then the coda sign is at the end of page 34, and so you're going to jump straight across to the coda, depending on which direction you're going. I don't know. That's the roadmap. Now they've added some pedal over here on page 35 in the second line. I like it better without the pedal. I like to hear that. I like to hear that. The pedal's going to cover all that up. All you're going to get is the accents. Whether you can hear it or not, though, you still do the technique. That's kind of important. You want to feel these two-note slurs, this bottom, bottom, whether you can hear it or not. So here I'm going to push the pedal down right after I play the first note. And when I change it at each measure, I'm going to play it right after I play the first note in the measure. So it's here. And I'm going to lift it up right after I play that C sharp in the third line. So it overlaps it, connects it all together. I don't like that. I would not interpret it that way if I were doing it, but that's what's in the book, so that's what I'm telling. As far as the tempo, well, With Mischief is not a tempo. You can look at their metronome markers to get an idea, but it's a cut time. We're going to feel it in 2. So it's 1, 2, 1, 2. However fast you find the hardest part in it, wherever that is, maybe this, whatever, I don't know. How fast can you play that accurately? Don't go beyond that. That's where you start. That would be one way to play it. I would play this different times. I would play it differently every time because I play by feel. And I like to experiment as I'm playing. I like to try different things out in the interpretation. You can do anything you want as long as you don't violate what the music is telling you to do. And they don't tell you everything because you got a lot of leeway in there, believe it or not. I would like to play this with you very slowly to double check the notes and the rhythms. Not going to do the dynamics, but we will do the DS al coda thingy and all that. And I'll do the staccatos and the accents and all that. So I'll give us 4 quarter note counts. I'm going to take this and put the metronome on quarter notes. So we'll go do that. Let's do it together slowly. And put your foot on the pedal if you're going to use it. Keep it on the pedal for the whole piece. 1, 2, ready, go. Three, 4. and 2 and 3. Go to the coda. Rest.